grunt in there. That's going to be a good battle. But I think where the game's going to be won is actually in the second round. I think if we've got an Ellis back and you've got a Frank the Tank back and you've got a C Kamano in that Hull FC side, that edge running is going to be the difference, I think. So I'm going, and plus I think the Harls are performing slightly better at Hull FC. Although there's not much between the 3/4 lines. For my money, I'm going for a 22 points to 16 victory in favour of the Black and Whites, Mark.
I just have a feeling on this one.
You are only picking this so that you can windmill your way up the top of the fucking tipping league, and this is not what you really think, but go on, tell us. Why is Salford going to win this fucking game, Mark?
Do you know why I do think Salford are going to win this game? Because I think Hull FC might hold a few people back for anyone with a half knock, with a niggle, whatever. Probably Gareth Ellis won't play. It's just a feeling I'm getting, just a sense. Mm-hmm. I think there might be a couple of other people who don't play. Shaw's so integral at the moment with Price and Tumavave not being available. Price is sort of available.
Price was on the bench last week.
He's sort of available, isn't he, I suppose? But
he's fully available. He played last week.
Price, yeah, but the Leon Price you want to play isn't available.
He's not in favour, is he? Yeah.
I would just say, I think maybe there's a case for giving Sneyd a week off as well. I don't necessarily like resting players, but for Hull FC, some of these players are either older or have been playing consistently and not had a break. When some of the big names I spoke about in the Wigan side before, they're needing the game time. Slightly different scenario because they've all had periods out recently. Yeah. So I think that's why Wigan will play them and Hull FC might not. So I'm going to go 20 points to 18 in favour of Salford. Salford have already secured that extra home game by the fact that the other two teams play each other.
Yeah.
And the points difference swing can't possibly overhaul what exists as far as I can tell.
There you go.
But there's not much to play for Salford other than pride. But I think there's quite a bit of pride in that bunch with Ian Watson there as well. I think, there's a little bit of talk sneaking out in the rumour mill that Ian Watson might be done for next year. I think that would be awful if it was true. And I think every win against a Super League opposition will demonstrate that he should still be in that position.
I'd be fucking fuming if he lost his job.
Sixth, wouldn't we, if Kukash
got
his house in order earlier?
Nobody would be questioning his performance.
He didn't know there was a salary cap.
Nobody would be questioning his performance if they hadn't had points deducted off them, and there's no way on earth that's Ian Watson's fault. That'd be a disgrace if he lost his job. Warrington take on Huddersfield this weekend. This is easy. Warrington 32 points to 12. Huddersfield are not very good. Warrington are pretty good.
Huddersfield make too many mistakes, and Warrington have got too many talented players who can capitalise on that. Even if some players miss out, they can still. They've got skillful depth. Yeah. So 36-20 Warrington for me.
Yeah. Wakefield take on Castleford, always a big popular derby, this one down at Bellevue. Going for a Wakefield victory coming off the back of their performance against Catalan. Castleford's form iffy to say the least, and I think Wakey are going to be keen to get a result here. I'm going for a 28 points to 24 victory. Interestingly, I'm going to say that Castleford score more tries but kick less goals.
Okay, I'm going to go for Cass being a boom and bust side this year, and it's going to be boom this week.
Boom.
It's 38 points to 26 in favour of Cass. I just feel like they're entertaining enough.
Yeah. Oh, they're great fun to watch.
And able enough to score more points than the Wakefield side, I think, are able to do.
Yeah, I'd love for this game to be on TV.
If they tighten up, because of the defence issues that they've had, if they tighten up that from last week, which I think they must be concentrating on this week, you would expect, then I can see them winning this game and outscoring their opposition by a couple of tries at least.
Fantastic. Widnes take on Catalan Dragons in the final game of the weekend. Then Catalan Dragons looking to shore up their fourth place.
Well, they could already know, and if the games go out we've tipped, they'll already know.
Yeah, they will. I actually fancy Widnes for this one. This might be my little wild swing in the dark. But Catalan have got a lot of players out through injury, and they're asking a lot of some younger and experienced players as well at the minute. Guys like Da Costa, who's a real talent, Lucas Albert, who's a real talent. But they're just, I think that this is an awkward trip away. Widnes isn't a nice place to go and play rugby. The lads at Widnes make it an intimidating. They try and get behind the boys, and it's an awkward journey for Catalan. So I'm going to go for a Widnes win. Don't ask me why. Apart from the injuries to Catalan, because Widnes weren't brilliant last week. 24 points, 18.
I think Catalan will win. I think, as I understand it, the weather might have cooled down again by next Sunday, so some of these big lads might be able to get a bit more of a breather out there than they were last week. for Catalan. I also just think if last week's anything to go by, Widnes players are all sat on the 2-year deals, not worrying about what's going to happen for the rest of this year.
Not attitudinally sound.
Yeah, that's the feeling I have. So 26-14 in favour of the Dragons. I'm going to go on with this one.
There you go. Well, if you're out and about at a game this weekend or out and about generally and want to keep in touch with what's going on, our friends at SL Clubs will keep you abreast of everything happening in the Super League this weekend.
Wire Giants is on Saturday, isn't it?
Yes. I believe so.
Interesting.
There you go. Right, Championship game of the week, Mark. What have we picked out?
Well, it's obvious, isn't it?
It is.
It's Featherstone versus Bradford. Winner takes all. Yeah.
I'm not.
They can't contrive of a draw, can they?
I think there'd be a lot of questions. There'd be a lot of conspiracy theories knocking about on this one, wouldn't there? If they did manage to draw the game, and I don't think it's in either coach's nature to want to play draw either. I don't think it's in the lads' natures either to do so. Very nervous going into this, but I get the feeling that a lot of the next 2.5 to 3 years or even the entire future of Bradford Bulls depends on them getting into this middle eights and getting some funding and getting some money behind them. And Featherstone, with the greatest of respect in the world, if they miss out on that, they've been living and coping with that level of funding for a certain amount of time. They're a part-time side. This could have a very devastating effect on.
It's alright, you've signed all the youngsters up to cheap deals.
The future and continued progression of my favourite rugby league team on earth, Mark. So I'm not going to pick against them. I'm not going to do any stupid karma stuff. Bulls to win. I don't know. It could be by a drop goal in the last minute for me, to be honest. Let's go for Bulls by 8. The thing that I do like about this is the geezer whose back bedroom looks out over Big Fella Stadium is renting his back bedroom out for 30 quid for the day. Apparently put it up on
30 quid ain't much, is it?
Well, for 3. He's letting 3 people in for 30 quid to his back bedroom. He put it up on Gumtree. So I think that's fucking genius, to be honest. He even put a picture up of the view. It's a good view.
Do you not want to go?
I'm not going to be able to. I've got Erin on the weekend, so I'm going to listen to it on the radio.
I think there's a lot of people who want to get themselves to this one if they could.
Yeah, absolutely. Bulls will take along a strong following though, and good luck to the lads. And
about
hopefully rugby league's the winner.
Talk about the game then. We're back from the game. Bradford have been scoring a lot of points again recently, and that looks good.
Yep.
Have they been tested defensively? I don't know. And have they come against a team that has a strong and committed defensive unit as Featherstone generally have? But I still think Bradford have got enough in attack, and I think they'll probably 30 points to 20, that sort of margin.
Yeah. I tend to agree with you. I think if we attack well, then we have enough to win the game, and we should probably. I think defensively we have been better over the last few games.
Is it hard to judge though? Against
it's tough to judge because of the teams we're playing against. Yeah, exactly. Okay, League One game of the week, Mark.
Yeah, it's the Super 8's kicking off in League One.
Let's go.
We're not going to talk too much this year probably now about the teams in the League One Shield.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about the League One Super 8.
Yes.
And Toulouse versus Keighley kicks things off. Obviously Keighley have been handed down the if you don't get promoted you're all sacked kind of edict from the men in charge, but Toulouse seem to be rampant, and this will just further underline their credentials. I feel they will win, but I think it's a significant game. Every time they beat a team like Keighley, who've won the iPro Sport this year and have been challenging, either dropping out of the top level or challenging to get the championship level or challenging to get back into the championship level. They're there and thereabouts, and they have been for a number of years. So they're a strong side at this level, and to keep beating them is just a sign of how good they really are. Yeah,
this is Toulouse's parade into the championship for me. So yeah, Toulouse by 1 million.
Fair enough.
I couldn't agree more. NRL, what have you picked out for us?
Quite a few to pick out as the season hots up, I suppose. The Cowboys versus the Bulldogs. I mean, we've got British interest in James Graham in this game. He's had a week off. He'll be well rested. But also, it's third versus fourth. It's a big game in terms of who can push on the momentum to stay higher up in the table and who might drop into having more challenging fixtures in the playoffs. Then we've got the Raiders versus the Warriors on Saturday. Obviously, the English contingent in the Raiders is of interest with Hodgson and Whitehead, but more of interest probably is where these two teams sit in the table, right at the bottom of that top 8.
Yeah.
A win for either would be pretty crucial, you've got to say. And then on Monday I picked out the Rabbitohs versus the Sea Eagles, just because there's the off chance of having 5 Burgesses on the field in one go.
That would be Burgerific, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Quite something. Okay, that's your Super League pod taken care of for the week. All that remains for us to do now is to wrap up the show. Right, wrapping up the show then, that's episode 109 in the books. SLP recommends this week, Mark. What have you got for us?
Well, I've got rugby league related stuff this week for a departure.
Wonderful. I have not.
Dave Wood's BBC 5 Live Extra podcast, he did an interview with Eric Perez of the Toronto Wolfpack. A couple of people have sent in tweets asking if we were going to mention this, and I'd already sort of planned to cram it in as a recommend.
Was it the same as the thing that was on Premier Sport then, the TV interview? Do you think it was recorded at the same time? Because they did a TV show as well.
Backchat?
Yeah, they did a Backchat special with Dave Woods and Eric Perez.
Did they?
They did, yeah, they filmed it at the Shea, from what I can gather.
I didn't watch that, but it might have been recorded at the same time, but maybe separately.
Right, because I watched that, I haven't seen the...
Right, well, the interview, it puts a really positive spin on everything, and Perez is really good at that. I think some of the things, there was a lack of detail that he either could give or didn't have.
Yeah.
There's a lot of excitement that he builds into it, so it's all positive. There is obviously how much of it is just enthusiasm and spin on his part. Hopefully that's not going to be the case. But it's a good listen. It's still there on to download as a podcast. If you don't know where to find it, the best place to find it would be if you go and download, for Android users particularly, if you go and download the League Cast app from the Google Play Store, and that'll have all your rugby league podcast favourites come up as they're released each week. It's mostly linked to the League Culture podcast, but it has all of our new shows going on them as and when they're ready. And that reminds me as well, Stu Morris, who does League Culture, asked me to mention the Manchester Rangers Community Fan Day on Saturday at the Sports Village in Manchester.
Wonderful.
So we'll put a flyer up. We've got one. We'll put a flyer up on Facebook and Twitter for that, for those of you who might want to attend.
Super.
So yeah, and then there was a couple of other interesting rugby league snippets, weren't there? Really, this week there was the bit you put me onto of your man from Batley.
Oh yeah, the Keegan Hurst thing. That was on the Ranveer Singh TV show on ITV. So you had to catch up on that.
It was on Thursday night, so it's still there on ITV Player. ITV Hub, I think they call it now.
Yes.
And then there was the bit you can get on Sky Go or on Sky On Demand with Jack Smith. That was before the Wigan game. I didn't watch it live.
Yeah. Giving you a bit of colour on his journey into rugby league.
Yeah. So there's a few little interesting tidbits to pick up on rugby league wise there. Yeah.
Anything else from you?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so? Cool. This week, my SLP recommends Morrison's ribeye steak, Mark. I treated myself this week to a big fat, about 2-inch thick. It's not the cheapest thing in the world. It ran me about 11 quid. Big fat slab of... it's beautiful, though.
For one bit of meat?
It was massive. 11 quid's worth of Morrison's ribeye will get you... You could cut it in half and 2 could comfortably share it. I just had it as a one. That was just my meal. I didn't have anything with it. Got it home. Now, the thing I've read...
You just ate meat?
Yeah.
No veg, no potato?
Just have my steak. Now, I've read that it was just as important to let meat rest when it's been cool as it is to let it rest when you've cooked it. So what I did was I got it on a plate, sat it out, salted it a little bit, and let it get to room temperature. Now, when you've salted your steak, what it's important to do is either salt it and then immediately fry it, or salt it and let the water come out and then reabsorb, because if you let the water come out and then fry it, obviously your steak's dry, so you've got to let the salt draw the water out and then let the fibres and the sinews of the meat open back up, and then the water is reabsorbed, so you get a juicy steak. Nice hot frying pan. I used a wok because it gets really hot. Bit of olive oil in there. Now you know me, I like my meat pretty raw. Seared it on both sides, got a nice crispy char on it, and then it was like butter, Mark. It was beautiful. I'm not saying this to big up my own cookery, because I did relatively little apart from follow what other people had told me to do, but this meat melted in my mouth. It was amazing. So yeah, if you're in the mood for a bit of steak this week, get yourself to Morrison's ribeye.
That's what I recommend.
I do go to Morrison's.
The
butcher's dead good there as well.